Hello again, people. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source quality, affordable land in the state of New Mexico. We are back in one of our favorite counties, one of our buyers' favorite counties, Cibola County, in the northwest part of the state, in a new subdivision, one that we have never previously before bought, listed, or sold land in. That subdivision is Fence Lake Ranches, and this video is going to be subdivision specific. It's going to be about Fence Lake Ranches. Now, we've got two pieces of land out here. We are, in the interest of efficiency, going to post this video at the top of both of these respective properties' listing pages. And typically, when we do this, it is because the 2 or 3 or 4 or 20 or whatever, however many pieces of land that we're buying are largely interchangeable. And whatever I discuss in the video will pertain equally to all of those properties. That is not necessarily the case here. These two properties do have some significant differences between them. The property we're looking at right now is partially fenced. That's a major one. And additionally, this property also has highway frontage. Both of these lots, however, have power. They have underground utilities at the lot line. They're both basically the same acreage, same price point, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to encourage you, if you're interested in these properties, if you want to dig into the differences and compare and contrast them, there's a couple ways to do it. Number one, here on our listing page, we've got property-specific notes. These will enumerate whatever differences, significant or insignificant, subtle or not so subtle, may exist about these properties. Additionally, at the bottom of the page, as always, guys, if you scroll past roughly about 100 photos of local towns, you will see that we have property-specific photos, photos taken from the specific subject properties. That will help you compare and contrast. And additionally, I'm going to add a video down here that will be much shorter, much easier to watch. That will be additional insights, quote, insights into whatever differences exist with these properties, whatever specific things I feel you as a potential buyer should be aware of. So, with all that said, guys, let's get to the specifics. These are respectively reference numbers CBNM-8054A and B, both, as noted, located in Cibola County, as noted, located in the Fence Lake Ranches subdivision. And both of these properties are, give or take, roughly about 40 acres of land. The A property is 38, the B property is 40. A negligible difference. They're large chunks of land is the point, and both of these will be priced at $26,000, as you saw up top. So let's begin by pulling these up on the map. As with all of our listing pages, GPS coordinates down here. Click any one of them, guys. Any one. And voila, onto the Google Maps, the property shall appear. So I have done roughly 7 bajillion videos about land in Cibola County. They all begin basically the same way. I'm going to acclimate you here on the map. I'm going to talk about some of the features of Cibola County. If you've ever watched one of these videos before, you can skip ahead about 3 minutes. But if you haven't, oh, prepare to be informed. Here we go, guys. So for those of you unfamiliar with the geography of New Mexico, Cibola County sits over here in the northwestern part of the state, roughly about an hour west of Albuquerque. These subject properties themselves are about 2 hours. I want to say 2 hours. Yes, roughly about 120 miles west of Albuquerque. So we'll call that 2 hours, 2.5 hours worth of drive time. Of course, you can measure distance on the map by right-clicking and clicking around, and you'll be able to do that. They are roughly about 2.5 hours west of Albuquerque, about an hour south of Gallup. Whatever the case, most of that drive, of course, is here along the I-40, so you got a good 75, 80 miles an hour you're going to be doing until you get out here to the 117, bang a sharp left, and then make your way down here just a little bit north of Fence Lake. Now, it should be noted, as I like to say in these videos, there are approximately more cows than people in Cibola County, so what it lacks in population density, it makes up with a lot of great outdoor attractions. This county has a lot of great sights to see, and if you just kind of zoom in here on the map along the 53, El Morro National Monument is one of those. That's very close to subject property. The ice caves in Bandera Volcano are also out here. Additionally, guys, we've got the El Malpais National Monument and Conservation Area in this region. Chain of Craters Wilderness Study Area also out here. And if you are not one for forests, hiking, picnicking, trails, so on and so forth, we've also got some bodies of water that are notable out here. Raymer Reservoir and, more importantly, the larger body of water, the Blue Water Lake State Park, are all in this region, of course, offering excellent water-based recreation, such as boating, fishing, we'll say jet skiing, we'll go with that, and other such things. And, of course, not to bury the headline, but this giant splotch of green on the map, roughly 300,000 acres of Cibola National Forest. If you are a hunter, plenty of opportunities. Anything with 4 legs, you can pretty much shoot and kill out here, but elk, mule deer, wild turkey, that is what people tend to hunt most in these regions, or so Google has told me. I am not a hunter. Anyway, it should be noted, guys, that the town of Grants is the county seat. That is, I believe, roughly about an hour and a half from the subject properties. The subject properties are actually a lot closer, relatively speaking, to the town of Gallup up here. Gallup, roughly about an hour north of the land that we are selling today. Should be noted, guys, that as always, we have photos, yes, photos of the nearby towns. These are some charming photos of Gallup, and population roughly 22,000 out there. So this is a pretty major town. They've got a hospital out here, and we like to show these photos. The casino as well, which apparently is not a 24-hour casino. I don't know why a casino wouldn't be 24 hours. Anyway, state law, I guess. We like to show these photos as evidence of the fact that civilization is right around the corner, and anything that you need from the subject property will be none too far away, particularly if you begin to develop the land and, Walmarts, grocery supplies, so on and so forth. There's a Home Depot in Gallup. There is not a Home Depot in Grants. Walmart's in both of them, of course. But the point is, if you begin to develop the property, you need groceries, you need building supplies, you will be able to access those pretty easily, roughly about an hour away in nearby Gallup. Additionally, guys, we got grocery stores, we got Dollar General, AutoZone, so on and so forth. But these are what some of the photos from the town of Gallup look like. A charming small town. Additionally, guys, as we like to point out, the town of Rama is also pretty close. This is a much smaller town, population 500. But here is also an easier place that you can run to for some groceries, some supplies. Not a lot going on out here. But enough, I suppose, to, supply you with some minor supplies, we'll say. I don't know. I lost the train of thought on that sentence, clearly. Anyway, additionally, guys, it should be noted that aside from the town of Rama, we also have the town of Quemado, which is even smaller, population 200, and that's just roughly about 30 minutes south of the subject property. But it looks like there's a little bit more going on out here, a little bit, I don't know, hipper, artsy town, we'll say. They've got a little more business and industry in this region. And additionally, also out here, it should be noted very close to Quemado, is the Quemado Lake, a body of water I did not mention in my dissertation on Cibola County because I believe Quemado Lake is in Catron County. So there you go. Anyway, but this is what this very pretty area looks like. So obviously, even more opportunities for fishing, relaxation, general boating, so on and so forth, none too far from the property. And in case, guys, you need a little review here on the map. This is Gallup up here, hour north. This is Rama up here, roughly about a half hour north, something like that. And Quemado down here, roughly about a half hour south, etc. Anyway, guys, with all that said, let's get into the subject property. So if we zoom in here on the map, you see this area right here, a little bit carved out on the map. It's not very well defined on Google Maps. There's certainly no plat overlay that's provided. But all this area that you see right here is the Fence Lake Ranches subdivision. And we got two properties for sale today. Let me pull up the plat maps that we have in these galleries. So each of these galleries is going to have a plat map. This took pretty significant effort to get a copy of these plat maps from the county. Whatever the case, the one lot that we were selling is down here. We have a zoomed in look at this, etc. But if you want to review the plat maps just to get a sense of the actual size, shape, footprint of the land, you can do that. Of course, as always, guys, we have the helpful Google Earth overlay of the land. And then, of course, later in the photo gallery, we have drone pictures of the property from space, where you can also see exactly how large the subject property is. Anyway, with all that said, guys, let's go to some property-specific photos here. So both these properties within Fence Lake Ranches sit just outside of Highway 36. The one property actually has road frontage along Highway 36. It backs up to it. But the point is, this is one of your best access roads into the region. Additionally, Pine Hill Road, which runs through the entirety of the subdivision, is going to be the best way to access both of these properties. Pine Hill is a well-maintained dirt gravel road. You're really going to be able to navigate this thing in any kind of vehicle. But, of course, as always in these rural areas, we recommend larger trucks, off-road capable vehicles to get around. Should be noted that both properties have power at the at the property boundary, and both have underground utilities out here in this region as well. The whole subdivision actually is outfitted with both power and underground utilities. And as I go through the photos, we're going to talk about this a little bit. You know, when you get into regions like this, so first off, let's talk about zoning. Cibola County has no formal county-wide zoning ordinance. Cibola County tends to defer to property owners associations, homeowners associations, whatever covenants and restrictions may exist within these respective regions. Fence Lake Ranches has none of those things. They have no covenants, they have no restrictions, they have no HOA, they have no annual dues for an HOA, and there are no time limitations on building. So what you get with land out here, aside from these large chunks of land at a pretty affordable price on a price breaker basis, with these utilities is also a greater degree of independence than you will find in other parts of the state. As far as developing, let's say, unconventional structures, tiny homes, shipping containers, so on and so forth. If your desire is more so to park an RV, to camp for indiscriminate periods of time, that too is something that you'll be able to do out here, specifically because of this lack of zoning, lack of subdivision-wide rules that exist out here. So as you can see, it's a very pretty, very picturesque region. Both these properties boast a good deal of flat terrain. The terrain varies a little bit on them, and I'll get into that in the property-specific videos as well as the notes at the top of the page. But the point is largely flat land that should be pretty easy to develop, pretty easy to park and camp on, or if you are going to start to build some kind of single-family residence out there, should be pretty easy to start excavating, landscaping, etc., etc. Now, of course, as always, guys, I will point out that here at the bottom of the photo gallery, we always have the drone overlays, which will give you an excellent sense, again, of the size, shape, location, and general footprint of the property. This one that we're looking at right here in the photos is the A property with the highway frontage over here. This one's got a road going through it. Again, I'll get into that more in the property-specific video that I'm going to do at the bottom of the page. But cycling through this gives you an excellent sense of exactly the sprawl that these pieces of land have. It looks, you know, every time our photographer goes out to shoot these properties, they're usually, 5 acres, 10 acres. He sends the drone up in the air. It's not too difficult for him to get the entire property within the shot. When you have a property like this that's 40 acres, he's taking that drone up really high, and he's still not getting most of it. So it gives you a sense of exactly how large these properties are and exactly how much land you will have to yourself out here, etc. Anyway, guys, I will let you review that on your own time. Additionally, we're going to have a drone video down here at the bottom of the page, which will help further portray the property, the terrain, the surroundings, etc. Now, because I have already discussed the little bit of zoning, a little bit of HOA information that you need to be aware of, no zoning, no HOA, I will wrap up the video just by directing your attention up here. Power companies in the region, if this is a property that you're going to want to develop, you're going to want to talk about what's it going to take to get power connected on the property to whatever I choose to park or build out here. Continental Divide Electric Co-op is normally the company that services most of Cibola County. That's what we found in our research. Socorro Electric Co-op, when you get down here into the southern portion of the county, when you get down to this region where you're pretty close to Catron County, Socorro also services some regions out here. So it's unclear to me exactly which utility company is servicing this area. But reaching out to both of them, figuring it out, talking to them about, hey, I'm looking to buy some land out here. You've already got power lines on the property. What is it going to take for me to get connected to the grid? So on and so forth. Always a good conversation to have in advance. It'll give you some additional insights in, of course, to logistics and to cost. Of course, when you have properties where the power is already at the lot line, it becomes a lot cheaper and a lot easier. Whatever the case, clicking these respective links will take you to their websites where you can reach out to them and discuss this further. And, generally speaking, guys, when you are talking to them about, hey, I'm looking to buy some land, blah, 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 they will usually ask you for a parcel number. Something like that is how they identify it. So if you give them the parcel number that you find down here on the listing page, or even the account number they might ask for, sometimes they'll ask for legal description. Point being, all that information is provided down here. So if you do reach out to those individual companies, that is the information they'll probably be asking for to help give you a better sense of the answers to your questions. Additionally, people, it should be noted that while we say in the headlines here that there are utilities, we're talking about power, we're talking about underground cable, general Wi-Fi is pretty good out here, cell reception is pretty good out here, so on and so forth. But we're not talking about city water or city sewer. If you do elect to develop this property, you should know that you're going to be drilling a well out here. That's what the I didn't even bother to mention this, but if you kind of look at the map here, you will see some developed home sites in this region. Not a ton of them. Obviously, people who live out here like privacy. But whatever the case, these home sites that you see out here, these are all people who are using wells. Whatever the case, if you reach out to the Office of the State Engineer in New Mexico, that is the government entity that is in charge of water rights and well permits. You will be dealing with them sooner or later. So if you want to talk to them about the cost or, again, the logistics involved in such a thing, always a good idea. They have on these websites logs of local wells. If you poke around enough, the New Mexico site isn't that great about it, but if you poke around enough, you can find what wells in this region, what drill depth or what depth they are drilled to. I find it's always better, easier just to reach out to local vendors, local well drillers, and just sort of ask them. I mean, those people you can usually say, hey, I'm buying some land in Fence Lake Ranches, and they know the area that you're talking about. And obviously, water table depth is something that, changes. Water table depth is a hard number to predict or to anticipate, but they should have the best insights into that. And they can give you a sense of not only how far down you're going to have to drill, but what the cost is per every foot of drilling and what an eventual well might cost out there. So always a good idea to reach out to these entities or to the local utility companies. Anyway, guys, with all that said, here on the listing page, we've got some links that we just want to make you aware of. Aside from that and the power company, we've also got some links to some of the things I mentioned earlier. Cibola National Forest, particularly if you're going to dig into trying to get a hunting permit for out there, those websites are always good resources for that. It gives you a sense of what kind of applications you have to fill out, what the fees are for that. Additionally, all of the national parks that I mentioned have links to their respective websites, so if you are not familiar with them, you can learn more there. If you are interested in buying this property, you should know that we closed on both of these properties through Quest Title, the only title company in Cibola County. So we did get title insurance. That means we will be providing you with a warranty deed should you purchase this property. And in order to do that, guys, just come up here, click the Buy Now button. It's going to take you to a secure checkout page where we are going to ask for a non-refundable, let me say that again, non-refundable earnest money deposit of $500. Here's the way it works, people. There is no financing available on these properties. We're looking for somebody who's got a straight $26,000 to put down. We, however, do not anticipate, we are not unreasonable people, we do not anticipate that the average person would want to or is capable of charging $26,000 on a credit card over the internet. So we like to kick these transactions off with a $500 non-refundable earnest money deposit. It shows us that you're serious, and then we complete the transaction in whatever way you, the buyer, elect. We, however, do recommend title and escrow. Whatever the case, that process begins by entering some information here on this page, agreeing to the terms of service, clicking next, and on the very next page, providing credit or debit card information for that $500 non-refundable deposit. Now, for the record, guys, I said title and escrow. Let me just say this. When we get into this price range, as I said, I don't anticipate the average person wants to hand a stranger on the internet $26,000. So we encourage you guys, let's close through a title company. And the way that that works is enumerated on a page that we have on our website called Buying From Us. How it works, buying from us. And down here is where we talk about the process that we usually recommend for properties in this price range, which is anything north of $10,000. But basically, you put down an earnest money deposit, we draft a sale purchase agreement, you sign it, we sign it, we submit it to title, and they do the rest. And title companies are notoriously hokey poke. They have a system akin to a deli counter, which is like take a number. So these transactions are never really processed all that fast, usually about 30, 45 days, though. At the end of that 30, 45 days, however, they will ask for the remainder of your money, in this case $25,500, and they will ask us to sign a new warranty deed. And only once the property has been conveyed to you will the funds be dispersed to us. So it's one of the additional benefits to a title company for you, the buyer, is that provides you with some additional peace of mind. There's a neutral third party, will say, who does not release your money to us until such a time as we have performed our end of the transaction. And for the record, guys, if you'd like to get a sense of exactly what that contract that we'll be asking you to sign looks like, just click this link right here, and it will take you to a generic version of one of our standard contracts. Very easy. One page for signatures. If you got a lawyer in the family, you want him to look at it, be our guest. Nonetheless, I think you'll find it pretty self-explanatory. Furthermore, guys, down here at the bottom of this page, we link to our title escrow frequently asked questions. I run through this information pretty quickly in the videos, and probably if you call and ask me these questions, I'll run through the information pretty quickly, and you may miss some of the salient details. So we like to provide this FAQ here on the website, which helps to answer pretty much every question we've ever gotten from anybody about the title company process. What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? What are the costs? Can I do it from home? Can I do it with a credit card? Do I need to be in Gallup, New Mexico to wrap this up? So on and so forth. This page will help answer all of those questions. Anyway, guys, with all that said, both of these properties are worth checking out. They got a lot of nice features. This one particularly, partially fenced, highway frontage, so on and so forth. But really, being out in a rural area like this and having the power, the underground utilities, and particularly this sort of price per acre basis, $26,000 for 40 acres. This is a really good deal, and I hope that we're able to buy more properties in this subdivision in the future, and I hope you feel the same way about it that I do. As always, guys, if you have questions, leave them here on the YouTube or shoot us an email, support@hemingwayland.com. I always appreciate when you guys watch these videos, so thank you again, and have a good one, and we will see you in the next video.